Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. This is day 7 of the Layout a Day challenge, and actually I did this ahead of time because I was the guest designer for day 7. And the prompt for today is about special vocabulary, maybe of your family or of a place where you live. And so that was the story prompt, and the technique prompt was to use some greenery. Now these prompts have to do with our theme for the month, which comes from the Golden Girls TV show. And like I said in the past, we're not scrapping about the Golden Girls, we're using that to inform stories from our own lives. So let's go ahead and get started. The special thing about today's layout is that I am not using any photos because of this vocabulary theme going on. I didn't really have photos that felt like they fit. So instead, I am going to use a lot of elements that show the feeling and mood about my vocabulary. And my layout is about moving from one state to another state. And here you see me kind of sketching out what I want to do for this layout. I'm going to use these rays with that pattern paper to capture that feeling that I was talking about. And because this is a vocabulary layout, I decided to do this mixed media background. This is a great way to use up leftover thicker stickers. And I wish I knew more ways to use these leftovers up because I have a stack of them. So anyway, I go about putting these letters down, and I do try to keep different letters separate, or the same letter separated from each other. And then I cover everything up with gesso. It's just on a basic piece of cardstock there. And I set that aside to dry. And then I turn to what I want my focal area to be. And because we moved from California and we live near the ocean, I definitely wanted that theme to be in there. And we moved to the Pacific Northwest, which has a very different climate, very gray and wet a lot of the time. And this paper had some images and elements and words to it that was so perfect. Even though it's like about Paris, the paper talks about coffee, which Starbucks started in Washington State, and it's got the rain clouds in there. So it just seemed like the perfect piece of paper. And then I'm going to use that as a template to cut out my second piece of paper, which has to do with moving from California. And I wanted certain parts of this kind of seaweed background, and it just wasn't quite fitting. So I do fuss with that a bit. And then I finally decided where it would be, and I just used that other piece as a template and drew a bit of a circle around, or a bit of an outline around it, and then I just cut it out with my scissors. And that is going to be the focal, it's not an image, the focal point of my layout today. Now I am using this piece of paper just kind of as a general background, and then I realized I actually want to use that to build my title up on. So I cut out a strip, and because one side is white and one side is black, I'm going to use both sides of this paper. The black side will be a banner to hold my title, and then on the other side I'm going to use a set of letter dies to cut out my title. And here are my letter dies, and I will go ahead and line these all up. And one tip I have for you is when you have dies that you want to keep grouped or contained, I use washi tape to hold them all down and keep them in place. And notice that my die was longer than my machine, and that washi tape helps keep everything in place so I can shift my cutting plates without having to worry about my dies moving around on me or having to rearrange more letters down the road. And then I'm going to use that washi tape trick again. Once I get my cutout letters all lined up and arranged, I'm going to put the washi tape over the top of them and be able to move them around all as a single unit. That lets me add glue to the back and glue them down. Now here I removed the washi tape while the glue was still wet. Normally I wouldn't do that. I wanted to see if I could get away with it, but it wasn't easy. So I set the second piece aside and let the glue dry. And here we are back with my title there, and that brown cardstock in the background is just a placeholder until my mixed media is done drying. And if you have a longer process layout like this, it's great to do a mixed media because you're going to be spending this time doing the rest of the layout, and that will give your mixed media time to dry, so go for it. If mixed media worries you, that is a tip to not have to stress out about drying time. And so I am just kind of eyeballing some of these rays coming out from this center portion, and I'm trying to get Eventually, I'm trying to get all the angles of the rays to kind of make sense with the ray next door to it. And I'm just guesstimating things as I go because I do kind of end up moving pieces around. Now here's a green piece that I'm actually going to add because the prompt said greenery. I'm going to stamp some trees on that piece later, which represents the Pacific Northwest. And then I decided I needed more patterns, so I pulled out this Wild Whisper Designs paper pack and this extra piece. I don't remember where this piece came from. Is that what part of the Wild Whispers pack? I think it might have been. And it's got some stripes on there that are going to help pull in all of the colors because that Wild Whispers pack added pops of yellow. And so I cut down the stripes to include every color that I wanted to be in that set of stripes, and I tape it all together, and that is going to be the grounding part for my big title there. And now my mixed media is dry, and I'm going to use liquid glue to adhere all this stuff down. Because that mixed media background is lumpy and bumpy, I need to be sure that that glue touches the highest part or the raised letters on that background. And so when I was doing the background, I just kind of gave it a nice big swath of glue because it's going to touch a lot of it. But when I do each individual ray, I am going to come in with my bottle and notice that I will add glue just to the raised portion where it's going to pop up that. And then I add a little bit of glue to the top of those rays so that they'll stick underneath my center portion, if that all makes sense. And then I am done with the basis of my background. Now I did leave these two little sections open from the rays, and that's because I'm going to add the state abbreviation from each state that we moved to and from. So up here I've got the WA for Washington, and then down in the other corner I have CA for California. So that is the basis completely done at this point. And then I printed my journaling out on a piece of just, what is the word? Brown. The word is not coming to me on this cardstock, and it kind of goes along with that brown corrugated piece that I added to the top because it's very tree-like and textural, which reminds me of home now. And I finished up my title with a subtitle of Changing Lingo. So the whole title reads, Moving States Changing Lingo. And then I have these little strips that talk about all the different things that seemed normal to us in California. And then the strips up on top are the things that seem surprising to us when we moved to Washington. Like waitresses calling you hun frequently was not a thing that I grew up with in California. And signs around here say, this is your park and this is our law. And that was kind of foreign to me. And so I wrap up all of those ideas in my journaling around the edge here. And so it tells more of a complete story with that. And with that, it's going to complete this layout. I hope you enjoyed seeing a process for a layout that doesn't include any photos. I know that's uncommon for us scrapbookers who love our photos to do that. So that's it for the day 7 layout. Now, because this was a guest design spot, I did make this video and layout ahead of time. So my actual day 7 layout will be coming to you later today. I will be back on Monday with a day 10 layout, and I will give you a look at what I did over the weekend when I'm not filming videos. I do hope you'll join me next time. I'll see you then.